How you going, everyone? Nick here, and we are back in rFactor 2 today with a bit of a big update. About an hour ago, the new 2022 UI update was released. We've got a fancy new click to start menu screen that we've seen so far. We're going to get stuck in and have a look at some of the changes that they've made, and fingers crossed, they've made some big ones because I think it really needed it. But let's get stuck in and see what we think. Alright, so from the get-go, you can see that there's an immediate obvious change. I mean, they've still kept some similarities to the old UI that we saw in the previous iteration, but definitely looks a lot cleaner, a lot more simple, group some things together. To me, it actually kind of reminds me a bit of the Project Cars 2 UI, crossed with the AMS2 UI. The color scheme of AMS2 is definitely there, I think. But, you know, they've definitely, according to the release notes for this update, definitely tried to make things a lot more linear, a lot more smooth, and reduce the number of clicks that you have to do to get to certain items in the game. So we're going to go through and have a look at a few of those things, see what we think, and go from there. But, you know, first thing I've noticed actually right now is that there is background music and the sound of V10 Formula 1 cars by the sounds. So that's a nice little addition. I don't think that was there before anyway, but let's get stuck in and see what exactly has changed, and you know how much better it is and how easy it is to set up a race now in rFactor 2. So, single player. Alright. So previously you used to have all those segments before where you'd have to click on one thing, go into a menu, choose your car, go back out, go in, choose another menu item if you wanted to set, you know, session settings and things like that. What they've tried to do here by the looks is make it a lot more linear. So, now you have your basic session settings here. So you can choose, you know, what sessions you want, practice, qualifying, warm-up, race, etc., time scale. And then the rules and weather settings and things for those down the bottom. You can choose the track. Simply click on that. It defaults to a list view. Thank you. This was one of the gripes I had in my last video when I talked about the UI. At the time I actually didn't realize it had a list view, but it didn't default to it anyway. So very nice to see that. I mean, quite good. I mean, it's very similar to how it was before. You can still just expand things and choose the layout and things that you want. So that seems quite nice. And then you can select your car. Again, default to a list view. And I think they've added a new, I don't know what you call it. This view. Showroom. There you go. That's the word. Couldn't think of it. That loads quite quickly. I mean, it seems very highly reflective. I don't know if even with all these lights in a room like this, you'd have a car this shiny, but there you go. You can have a look at the model in 3D. Have a look at some setup options as well. Change your camera. I don't know why that is there. Actually, it doesn't seem to actually do anything. Sound, settings for the car. Great. I mean, it's nice. It loads quickly. That's one thing that rFactor 2 isn't really known for. And then once you've selected your car, you can go to Edit Settings, go through all of the session settings, AI settings, opponent filters, what cars you want them to have, what liveries you want, and what exact car you want. And there you go. That is, I have to say, as basic as people think UI layouts and things like that are, and it's very easy to go and say and copy someone else's UI, but they don't always get it right, and I think it's good to see that they've finally got something a little bit more usable for the most part. It's nice to have some linear progression through all the settings and then just being able to hit start racing and going from there. I think that's really good what they've done with that, and this is definitely a lot more usable. They have said that there is more to go in a lot of these changes, so hopefully with some feedback, if there's things that don't work, I'm imagining there will be things that don't work properly or need some slight tweaks. So I'm going to be having a look at this in more detail as I play the game, of course, and we'll see how we go from there. But that's a good start for single player. So let's have a look at some of the other settings and how things have changed there as well. So in the content and settings menu that they've added up the top here, this is quite nice actually, I like it. You can go to the store quickly if you want to. Look at the Steam Workshop as well. Manage content. This was always a setting before they got rid of the pre-game launcher. This was a bit buried actually in the last UI update. So it's nice to have that as a big obvious button where people can find things if you have a mod that you've installed, for example, that wasn't on the Steam Workshop that you have to manually add. So that's nice that that's there now. So you can look at all your packages and make sure that they're installed. Quite a clean UI. Very good. I think they've done well there. You can look at your profile, save your name, essentially, and then settings as well. All joined together. Look at that. Very nice. Control calibration. It's in columns now as well. I think this used to be on a whole bunch of different sliding menus that you had to go through before. Was a little bit of a thing, but I like how they've done that now. You know, you got your profiles on the left, your calibration immediately in the middle, force feedback settings on the right. Very nice looking, I have to say. Controller assignment, so you can go through every single item that you need on one page. I mean, it looks very busy, but there's not that much to choose from. So I think, you know, it's probably reasonable to say. I don't have any problems with that at all. I think that's a good change as well. Your graphics settings, at the moment, looking pretty good. For some reason, we're at 2560 by 1080. I don't know why that happened, but it's not meant to be, but either way. And then sound settings, all there as well. They're very good. All right. I like what they've done with the settings. Make it simple, make it easy to get everything in one page. Group it by tabs. It's just common sense, I think. So, multiplayer servers, still looking pretty similar. I mean, obviously it's got the new UI look, but still your typical list of servers, sortable by version, by ping. How are we looking for Australia at the moment? Not a whole lot happening here, I tell ya. Again, that's another problem that they can worry about later on. You know, now that they've done some good changes with the UI, they can start looking at these things next, I think. And hopefully they do, because it's a real shame, I think, that rFactor 2 is let down by things as simple as a menu UI. But, you know, one thing at a time, they're getting there. Hopefully what happens next then is loading time fixes, some changes to the online ranked multiplayer setup, and then some marketing. I really think they need to do some marketing for this game and get it out there, because it does have some good driving. I know a lot of people enjoy playing this, but there's so many things that turn people off. But it's nice to see that they've done something with the UI to make it better. So we'll see. And then the last thing that I wanted to check in this before we ended the video, it's just a quick look at the UI today. We'll naturally go through it as we play more of the game, but I wanted to have a look and see if they'd made any changes to the pre-race screen. And it looks like it's been updated to at least, you know, take the new aesthetics of the UI. The layout and things look quite similar. I don't think there's a lot of changes on that front. You know, you can still, you know, full screen. All these settings are the same. Live timing, you can look at the top. Session controls, you can still do. That used to be a button up here, which was not a very obvious button as to what it actually did. So that's good to see that they've actually labeled things now. You know, I think it's all well and good to have condensed buttons and make things look, you know, smooth and clean. But if you can't actually tell what a button does, then it doesn't serve a purpose. So I think that they've done something nice there with cleaning this up a little bit and just making it a bit more obvious as to what things do. So that's always nice to have. And then you can make your car setup changes as well. So everything's tabbed, you know, and they've kept things on one screen per tab as much as possible. There's no more sideways scrolling. That was one of the big things across the board in the last UI that I really wasn't a big fan of. So I'm really glad to see that. Keeps things nice and clean. You don't have to worry about it. It's all there in front of you. You're not sitting there scrolling and looking through 1,000 pages to try and find one setting. So look, you can probably tell I'm a little bit excited by this change. I never thought I'd be this excited about a UI update, but a game like rFactor 2, as I said before, definitely needed it. So this is refreshing. This is good. Hopefully it means that there's more to come for rFactor 2. And as I said before, if they can start to put some real focus into, you know, more UI fixes, and we'll see what the community has to say. I'm sure not everyone will be a fan of the changes that have been made, but that's okay. It's personal preference. You know, start working on pushing a more robust and usable ranked multiplayer system, and then market the damn game. You know, it's all well and good to say, oh, we have the Le Mans series once a year, race once a year with celebrities and all that sort of stuff. You know, great. But I don't think that's enough to get the game out there for people that don't follow sim racing games and don't understand that this is something that is good if you really want a good driving experience. So, you know, there's a long way to go still, but this is a refreshing change, and I'm glad we're starting 2022 off with an update like this. It will definitely, at least in my eyes, make me want to at least get into the sim a bit more and try things out, because I know I can just get things done and not have to worry about going through menu items for half an hour to try and set things up and get things how I want it. So I'm looking forward to playing this game a bit more, trying it in real world scenario where I'm not just sitting here talking to a camera. But yeah, look, I'm really quite pleased with what they've done here. So they've done quite well. And as you can see, that loaded very quickly, straight back out of the session, back into the menu, quick. That's what we want. So there you go. Just a very, high-level view of the new UI. It's just come out. We haven't had a whole bunch of time to look at it, but I thought I'd go through it quickly and just see what it's like. Overall, pretty impressed. I don't think everyone's going to be super excited about a UI, but when it's been a problem as long as it has with rFactor 2, I think this will make a few people happy. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you like the UI? Would you like to see some other changes? Are there things that you don't like about it? Am I a complete idiot and I don't know what I'm talking about? I don't really know, but you can let me know. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Leave your comments below as to things you'd like me to try. If you'd like me to try any new mods or anything for rFactor 2, I know there's a few of you out there who are quite big fans of rFactor 2, so more than happy to give that a go. If you'd like me to give some new mods, new cars, new tracks, etc. a try. But look, until the next one, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you later. Thanks, bye.